So many people ask the question, who is a guardian angel? Some people might say it's my pet dog, or it's my old grandfather who passed away. Some people might say, well, it's my best friend. I think these are all great ideas, but a guardian angel is actually a creature created by God who belongs to the hierarchy, the rank of angels. Guardian angels are actually very powerful beings, and they are actually more powerful than humans. The way that I would describe it in terms of nature is equivalent to human beings looking at ants, right? We see how tiny they are in their design, and sometimes it can be like, you measly ant, and just look down on them, right? But fortunately, guardian angels, being angelic creatures that are in God's grace, look at us with great humility. And they are very grateful to God for having an assignment of watching over us. So in the choir of angels, there are a hierarchy of angels in heaven, and we call them the 9 choirs. But in this choir, you have a series of ranks which, depending on where you are in that rank, you have a particular function. And beginning with the cherubim and the seraphim that are closest to God, the lower you go in the rank, the closer you get to earth and to humans. So at the very bottom of the rank are the guardian angels. Just because you're lower in the rank doesn't mean you're necessarily in less favor with the Lord. It just means that your assignment looks different. The moment that he assigned the task to the angels was actually the very instance that they were created. And when they saw their assignment, they saw that who they were appointed to was going to live their life with a particular lifestyle. They had to make a choice of whether or not they're going to accept the assignment. The angels who chose not to follow what they were assigned left heaven. They followed Satan, Lucifer, and they went to the realms of hell. But the angels who were humble enough to see what, as I analogously said, is equivalent to ants, humans to ants, they saw that assignment and still received it with joy. Those became guardian angels. And every human being, guaranteed the moment that they were baptized, has a guardian angel. But many other theologians have argued that from the moment of a baby's conception, everyone has a guardian angel. That being said, what do our guardian angels necessarily do in order to protect us? Because the reality is we are in a spiritual warfare. And while this world has nature and the laws of nature and its tendencies, there is a supernatural reality. The supernatural reality is the reality of God and everything that belongs in heaven. So everything that remains in God's grace is supernatural. So our guardian angels who remain in God's grace have this supernatural outlook. But the angels who fell from heaven, who are no longer in God's grace, they're actually not in the supernatural, but rather what we would call the preternatural. And so what I said earlier about how powerful angels are, these angels are more powerful than what's natural. And that is why you have the supernatural realm at the very top, and you have the natural realm at the bottom, but in between, you have this whole spectrum of the preternatural. Which is why if you watch one of our later videos, you'll notice that it's dangerous to play with preternatural things, like Ouija boards and seances and getting your palms read, etc., etc. But going back to the point of guardian angels, so our guardian angels then are there to protect us from the demons. Now, why would they really care? Because the demons who have fallen from grace, who have lost their positions in heaven, now have left vacant spots in heaven. And St. Thomas Aquinas would say that the hierarchy in heaven is not separated between humans and angels, but rather remains one hierarchy. And in terms of grace then, when humans elevate in the ranks, that by our merits, if we rise to certain positions in heaven, that we too fill in those spots that were vacated by the demons. Which is why then, we should try our best to score points of God's grace by actual grace here on earth. And the guardian angels are there to support us on this mission. So as we hear in Padre Pio's prayer to the guardian angels, towards the conclusion, we hear that they are with us to light, to guard, to rule, and to guide. So what specifically does this mean for us? Well, when they light the way, what they do is they illuminate our minds. So angels have a capacity to put an image in our memory, or to bring out a certain memory for us to remember in this present moment, with the goal of inspiring us to be faithful to God's will. Likewise, demons can also use our past experiences and that memory to tempt us to do something outside of God's will. But because of the illumination, the goal is for us then to be faithful to God and to live holiness. To guard, the angels are there to protect us. Now, I can't tell you how many times my guardian angel has protected me. I wouldn't be here, to be honest, if it wasn't for my guardian angel. I was a pretty reckless kid, especially with board sports. And I can't tell you, my guardian angel has saved me on countless accidents. They're also there to rule. Now, when it comes to ruling, we're talking specifically about our passions. Now, human beings can either live our lower faculties like other animals, that the passions can take away our virtue. But on the contrary, if we strive for excellence, we can live a very virtuous life. To rule the passions and to have a life of virtue, that is the goal. To not only think like Christ, but when we want to live like Christ, we have to act like Christ. So our guardian angels are there to inspire us to live a virtuous life. And finally, to guide, because in all things in life, we have a spiritual reality in which we have to discern what is God's will. And the angels are most active when it comes to our discernment with our secondary vocation. Our primary vocation obviously being to become a saint, but that secondary vocation when it comes to discerning whether or not we're called to the married life, to the religious life, or to continue as a single person solely dedicated to living our life for God. So I think it's important for us to really discern our relationship with our angels and to constantly communicate to them. While it's not appropriate for us to name our angels, because by naming we are claiming authority over them, and again, because they were made by God, that authority belongs to Him, we can still engage our guardian angels through our prayer and saying, "Guardian angel, I need you in my life. Please continue to be there for me." And not to only assume that they're there to protect us, but all the other things I mentioned, that they would actually help me to be inspired, that they would help me to grow in certain virtues when I struggle with particular vices, or if I need guidance because I don't know exactly what step I need to make next in my vocation. So I'm imagining some of you are probably thinking, well, Father Daniel, how am I supposed to talk to my guardian angel if I don't know my guardian angel's name? I think we all can acknowledge that God is the only one who has the authority to name. So we will not know our guardian angels' names until we meet them in heaven. But that being said, I can still, with great respect and honor to my angel, choose an alias in order to develop that personal relationship in our prayer. And quite frankly, that's actually what I do, knowing very well that this is not my angel's name, but this is the best way that I can honor my angel while here on earth. And that way I can continue to pray to my angel with whatever intentions I have, whatever I need, knowing that my angel is always there for me. And I promise you, when you engage your guardian angel in these ways, you'll see throughout your life just how your guardian angel is planting these moments of grace that help you in your journey to God. Now, some people might argue, well, Father Daniel, why don't I just talk directly to God? Why do I have to talk to my guardian angel? Which is true, you could talk directly to God. But we live, by God's grace, in the communion of the angels and the saints. And while talking to God directly is one form of outreach, of prayer, imagine while you are doing that, if you have other creatures that are rooting for you, that are praying on your behalf, that it's not only your prayer, but along with your prayer, you have your guardian angel, you have the saints, you have Mother Mary, you have the whole choir. So we've been talking about guardian angels, and like I mentioned, there's a choir, or a hierarchy of angels, 9 choirs to be exact, and the guardian angels are the lowest, right? And so they're the closest to us. But above the guardian angels are 8 other choirs. You have the archangels leading all the way up to the cherubim and seraphim. Now, the next video, we're going to go in deep dive to each of these choirs and to understand exactly what their function is and how they are all an integral part in us being faithful to God's will. All right, well, till next time, pray to your guardian angel. If you're so compelled to follow us, make sure that you hit that subscribe button and you like us. I promise it wasn't your guardian angel telling you to do that. It was me. See you next time.